Hi there, Jason Wright from Essential Property Management, and today I'm here with my colleague Costa Coumbaros from Surewise Insurance. How are you, mate?
I'm good, thank you, Jason. How are you today?
Yeah, I'm great, thanks. Thanks for joining me. Mate,
No,
I
thank you
thought I'd catch up with you on behalf of my clients and other people out there in similar situations. But as we both know, there was a major weather event in South Australia about 2 weeks ago, and our agency has 12 active insurance claims, and many of my colleagues have a far more significant list than that. And what I've noticed is with those 12 claims we've got active, there's definitely some variations in the reaction we're getting from the insurance company and how easy it is to deal with them. So I thought I'd use this opportunity to talk to you direct and get some information from you about what our clients should be looking for when searching for policies.
No, definitely. Look, thanks for the opportunity to have a chat with you. And look, our office definitely had the same experience. We had close to 100 claims lodged, and now that it's been sort of deemed a natural catastrophe with a budget of 100 million. So look, there will be a lot of claims lodged. There'll be some with smooth sailing and some that may be a bit challenging. And look, that's the role of a broker, to sit down with a client and tailor their insurance so that if something goes wrong or there's a major event, the policy will respond accordingly. So look, as a broker, we can sit down with the client and like I said, we ask the questions and we make sure that, if there is a claim, the policy we've placed for them will respond accordingly. Now, unfortunately, over the last couple of years, we have noticed a massive trend of a lot of clients going to the direct market. Now, unfortunately, the direct market, you don't have a trained person or a qualified person to tailor a program. They pretty much get given 10 questions. They ask the 10 questions and they place a policy. And unfortunately, that's a sort of price point to get the price as low as possible. So when you are focusing on price, you are tending to get a reduced level of cover, and you are going to get a policy that unfortunately won't be as good as, say, a broker policy where it's designed for you so that if there is a claim, it's going to respond. So unfortunately, one of the biggest mistakes a lot of people do is they are focusing on price. And unfortunately, when you're focusing on price, there's a lot of terms and conditions in there that people don't read. And unfortunately, these are the claims that will have problems and won't go through efficiently.
Yeah. And do you find, I quite often find sometimes that even though they focus on price, quite often the variance in price is not that significant when you
Correct.
look at some of these things. And an example for me is that with this storm, a lot of my austenite on those 80-styled homes with that austenite, a lot of the damage is that sort of thing. And they're the things that we're finding hard to claim, whereas the obvious ones like water coming through the ceilings and the light sockets has been easier. What should they be looking for, or how is it that you're able to find that stuff as a broker?
So look, when we're placing an insurance policy, the basic questions we ask is obviously the construction of the property. Is there anything unique about the property? Are there any heritage features? Are there any really unique building materials that are being used that if in the event of a claim, the insurer would need to know about, so that then they can pretty much appoint the right trades. So, importantly is getting the right information on the property so that if there is a claim, the insurer knows what they've got covered. So that way, if they've got to get a heritage builder, or if they've got to get a specialist builder for that particular, construction, they'll allocate that to the right trades. So, when you've got the right trades pointed to the property, they'll know what to look for and they'll know how to quote it, so that if and when it gets sent through to the insurance assessor or the insurer or the broker, we know exactly what we're dealing with and we can relate that. Now, look, one of the benefits of a broker is we assist with the claim. So it's not the client against the insurer. It's the client tells us what it is. We then prepare it in a format that we send it through to the insurer. The insurer understands it and then responds accordingly. So I think that's another sort of breakdown where the right questions sometimes aren't asked, which could potentially cause issues in a unique property.
And so what I just heard then is if I've got to make a claim, I get to call you rather than a call centre where I get put on hold
Correct.
to 7 or 8 different people during the process.
Correct. Yeah, and look, that's right. You deal with me, and I've got a dedicated claims team behind me. So what happens is we'll sit on hold for you. We'll get the claim lodged for you. We appoint the make safe, or we appoint who needs to come out there to assist. And literally, it's just one phone call for the client. And look, it's a very smooth process because the client at that point in time has had an unforeseen event. The stress levels are escalated. They obviously could potentially have a tenant that's very unhappy. So at least they can sit down with you, calm the tenant down. Behind the scenes, we lodge the claim. We get a claim number issued to yourself or the client with a list of the trades that have been appointed on lodgement, and then you can coordinate with them who they'd like to use. Look, a lot of the times the insurers have a preferred building panel they use, but at times if that preferred building panel is quite backed up and you've got a contract that you'd like to use and we can get there quicker, we can definitely use their trades as long as they take photos and obviously keep a detailed record of what they're doing there. So they can appoint their own trade if the insurer has a bit of a backlog on there.
Cool. And because so many people aren't familiar with the broker process versus just calling AAMI or one of the other majors, why should they pick someone like Surewise over those?
Look, it comes down to we are qualified insurance brokers. We know the market, we know the changes in the market, we know where there's a risk appetite, where we can get something extremely affordable and at a high level of cover. So the benefit of a broker is we've got underwriting agreements with up to 200 insurance companies. You're not dealing with one insurance company. So what first benefit is when we look at a policy, we flood the market to make sure that we're getting the best possible price. And then we also look at the policy wording, the benefits of the policy and place it on that. So automatic benefit, it's not one brand you're dealing with, it's multiple big brands that you're dealing with. You've got one contact that pretty much does that. So if you are looking at quotes, the broker does that for you. You're not sitting on hold for 30 minutes with 6 different insurers to get a price. You have one conversation with me, and then I'll come back to you with a pricing and a recommendation of which way to go. And then if there is a claim, again, you've only got one phone call to myself. We lodge the claim for you, and then obviously the claim goes through. So you've always got one dedicated person. So, with a direct market insurer, every time you call, you've got a different person. Every time you're not building a relationship, you're not building a solid contact where they know who you are and what you're doing. With a broker, we form a friendship and a good relationship with our clients so that we know who you are, what you do, how your property is. So when you've got that one-on-one relationship, things tend to go smoother because you know who you're dealing with, you know the property, and you know the type of insurance. So, and you're only ever dealing with Costa. You're not dealing with 50 different people.
Yeah, perfect. And there's no additional cost for them to use a broker, like that's just included in how does the...
It's all included within the pricing. Look, we charge a very small broker fee. That broker fee is just to cover our admin costs, claims representation. But again, that is a very minute fee on a landlord's policy, a home policy. It starts at a very low amount, which we can negotiate with the client.
Sure, perfect. Okay, and what do you think as a landlord? What are some of the challenges in COVID times that you're seeing across the market at the moment for policies on behalf of owners?
Yeah, look, one of the big things that's come to light is, obviously with COVID, a lot of people have been working from home. So, a lot of claims have come up because people are home. They are noticing things a lot more. So a perfect example of some issues we've seen with direct market insurers is, you've got a tenant that's working from home and they cause some accidental damage to the property. The landlord goes to claim on the policy and all of a sudden they've been told, hey, you've got no accidental damage to the building cover. It's only a listed events policy, so no cover. So an example of that is you've got a young child playing inside a brick veneer home, accidentally kicks a ball and puts a hole in the wall. If you don't have an accidental damage by tenant policy, then that's not covered. So that's one of the things we're seeing is because a lot of tenants are at home, things are breaking by accident. They are noticing leaking water pipes. So claims have gone up because of that. So one of the big things we're saying to our clients is make sure your policy's got malicious damage by tenants, make sure it's got accidental damage by tenants, rent default, and of course your loss of rent in the insured of a major event. Because if you don't have those covers, then unfortunately you're self-insuring that risk and you're wearing that mistake.
Yep. Okay. And like you just said, you're seeing those mistakes occur more regularly because we are home to make them.
Correct. That's right. So, a lot of people are at home now. They are noticing, oh, what's that wet patch in the wall? That doesn't look right. And then a plumber comes out and, oh, there's been a leaking pipe there for the last, 12 months. And vice versa, because people are at home, there is a lot more activity within their home. So things are sort of breaking. So if you don't have that accidental damage by tenant, you're only covered for weather events and insured perils, as subject to the policy wording, of course.
And then I think one of the other perceptions, and I'm certainly guilty of it, is that the only time you can really review your policy is at renewal time. Is that the case, or can anyone call you anytime, or what's the best way for them to get you to review it, mate?
Yep. So look, what we do with our clients is obviously when you insure a policy, you've got your authorized people that can transact on that policy. So, the owners and the managing agent. So as a broker, look, we like to touch base with our clients quarterly. So if there are changes, a tenant might move up, a new tenant might come in and, with the current rental market, the rent increases. Well, if we don't keep in contact with our client, we don't know if the rent has increased. So what we can do is, we have regular discussions and regular reminders that, look, let's keep in contact so that if something changes, we can endorse the policy to reflect that change. So even though we renew once a year, do some rentals, or if it process some renovations, or we change tenants or something happened to change the policy, you just let us know and we process an endorsement with the insurer to reflect that change.
Okay, perfect. Is there anything else before we head off today that you think my clients or other people should be looking at that we haven't covered?
Yeah, look, definitely one of our big, my personal recommendations is make sure you read your basic excess. A lot of insurance companies are increasing their basic excess, unfortunately, because there's been such a large volume of claims. And a lot of insurance companies are increasing their excesses. So, if you're looking at a renewal, just check your excess, because there's a big chance it's probably gone from, say, 300 to 500 or 600. We're seeing some 800s in the direct market. So definitely check your excess. Double check what you covered for. Make sure that what they've renewed you for matches. Make sure the sums insured are being indexed. Make sure there's no fine print in there that wasn't there before.
Okay. Well, again, this is Costa Coumbaros from Surewise Insurance Brokers. If any of my clients would like you to review their policies, what's the best way for them to do that, mate?
Yep, we've got a couple of options. They can either contact me direct, or they can send one of yourself or one of your managers an email authorizing them, authorizing you guys to release their contact details to me. And then I can personally call them and introduce myself, give them a bit of information on who I am, my background and my firm, and how we can assist and move forward that way.
Perfect. And one last thing, for those clients, I would say 70% of my clients live interstate and a couple overseas. Can you help anyone in the South Australia market?
We can assist everyone in the South Australia and Australia-wide market. I've got clients in Queensland, Sydney, Melbourne. So we can definitely assist Australia-wide if required. Perfect.
Thank you so much for your time today, mate. I really appreciate it.
No worries. Thank you very much. And I appreciate the opportunity to chat with you.
Thanks, buddy.
Thanks, mate.